Suzanne's Paparazzi Jewelry, 24/7 shopping available. 160920 is the code. Show her some love, like she showed us. K&A Custom Crafts on Facebook.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Coast to Coast Entertainment Network. I am your moderator, Ace. That's right. We are back for another episode of Between the Ropes, and it's actually a very special episode of Between the Ropes. But before we go ahead and get started with this interview, let me introduce you who we have. That's right. He's here, Mr. Chris Mabry. How you doing tonight, my man?
I'm good. How's everybody doing tonight?
Fantastic. And then, of course, he's back, Mr. Mess Around Dave. How you doing tonight?
I'm good, thanks.
All right. And then we have our very special guest tonight. We are honored to have him here, Mr. Bane Bailey. How are you doing tonight, sir?
Man, I'm doing great. How's everyone else doing?
Oh, fantastic. You know, we promoted this. People were excited to have you on. They couldn't wait to hear about your story and everything. So with that, why don't we go ahead and get started? Because this is going to be very, very exciting. So we're going to go ahead and start off with a very, very simple question for you.
Okay.
What inspired you to become a wrestler?
You know, over the last maybe about 5 or 6 years, I just kept getting a lot of people that would come up to me and based on my size, it asked me like, "Hey man, do you box or do you do MMA?" I'm like, "No, man, I don't do any of that." But the one thing that always interested me was wrestling, and you know, I kept thinking about doing it, kept looking online and seeing what was out there as far as schools was, and just like it was very hard for me to kind of just finally just pull the trigger, you know, and get enrolled in a school. But I just really want to do something different aside from, you know, the whole MMA and boxing. I'm like, you know what, I want to be a wrestler, you know, and it sounds, you know, the biggest thing that kind of finally made me pull the trigger was I think it was like 2 or 3 years ago when WWE had that all women's show Evolution. The match that kind of inspired me to finally, you know, take that step. It was that Charlotte versus Becky Lynch match. I think it was like the Iron Woman match. And I was like, you know what, you know, it's time for me to pull the trigger because based on how the fans reacted from that, I'm like, you know what, I definitely want to be able to feed from that, you know, and at some point in my life, you know. But it just, you know, and I think that's kind of what made me pull the trigger on, you know, finally rolling into school, and then, you know, 2.5 years later, here I am.
All right. Well, that's awesome. You know, it's something that's truly inspiring for you to go out there and do something that you really, really want to do. I know for me, I've been a wrestling fan pretty much my whole life. When I was younger too, I was like, you know what, it would be awesome for me to actually get out there in the squared circle and try it. But it was just something that in my mind, I'm like, maybe I'm just not athletic enough for it. Maybe I just can't do it. And so I never actually went out there and tried it. But
well, I mean, it's, you know, you don't definitely know unless like you actually go out there and try. Like, believe it or not, I didn't think I was all that athletic either until I started doing some of the stuff. I'm like, dang, I'm a little lot more athletic than I thought. Like, I was doing stuff that I never thought in 100 years I can do. So I mean, it's just one of the things where you just gotta put yourself out there.
All right, Chris, I'm gonna go up to you next. Do you have a question for Bane?
I do. Who's your dream match? That you would say?
My dream match?
Yeah.
Oh man. And I think it's because he's always been a favorite of mine since I was a kid. My dream match is Jeff Hardy.
Oh.
Like if I absolutely had the chance to work Jeff Hardy, that is the dream. Either Jeff Hardy or honestly at this point it'd have to either be him or Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre is one of the guys I look up to right now, especially for his upbringing, the way that he's just conducting himself for like the last 2 years. Like that, those are the two dream matches that I would absolutely love to have.
All right. So before we go to Mess Around Dave here, we have a few comments in the comment section. So Brandon Herrera saying, "What's up, guys?" and welcome Bane. And then Joanne saying, "Hey guys, welcome, Bane. I love your story about following your passion. It reminds me of the Coast to Coast Gentleman. So thank you for throwing that out there. And then, of course, Brandon Herrera wants to know, who do you want to model your wrestling style after?
So, if I had to choose right now at the moment, it'd have to be the Undertaker, because I get a lot of that comparison as it is. You know, I like doing the big moves, but I also think of myself as a little bit of a brawler too. So if I actually had to choose, I'd probably have to say the Undertaker, just because of the way that he, performs his strikes, his move sets, just the way that he carries himself in the ring. That's kind of how I want to portray myself in the ring too, which I've already have gotten people to say, hey, go watch the Undertaker, go watch how he conducts himself, and try to use that in the ring and see how that works out for you.
You know, that's an excellent comparison. When you want to basically build your character around a Hall of Famer, I mean,
Yeah.
absolutely. So, speaking of Hall of Famers, so it sounds like you're a huge fan of the Undertaker. So,
Yeah.
people often ask this. People often ask this question because, you know, as we saw this year, Kane was inducted into the Hall of Fame also. Now,
Yes.
a lot of people came out and said that, you know, Kane wouldn't have been that guy without the Undertaker. Do you think that that's kind of true on?
I mean, I think they kind of both needed each other at some point in the career to kind of lift each other up. But I mean, I truly believe that Kane still would have been Kane, even though without the Undertaker. Um, I think just the Undertaker kind of amplified maybe his character a little bit, but I still think he would have been as successful with the Undertaker as without the Undertaker.
All right. So we also have a question from you in the comment box. Joanne wants to know, what does your training and nutritional regimen look like? Is there some kind of special diet and stuff that you have to follow and stuff
Diet has been kind of one thing I've always struggled about doing. It's very hard for me to stay consistent. As far as that, I do try to eat as well as I do. Having like chicken, veggies, at least 3 protein shakes a day. And then I usually try to hit the gym at least 4 times a week, for about maybe an hour, a little bit more or so. But that's just what my training consists of. It consists of that, and also getting in the ring 2 times a week too. For training and cardio and everything else. But I mean, nutrition is definitely something that I definitely struggle with. Just because I don't eat too. I try to eat as often as I do, especially when I'm like out working and everything else. Sometimes I just get really into a job. I'm like, man, I want to finish this job before I do anything. So sometimes I do skip a meal here and there, but I do the best as I can, and just work out as much as I can too when I have free time.
All right. Mess around. This is going to come to you. Do you have a question for Bane?
Yeah, we always ask this question of our guests, especially people with wrestling backgrounds. What's your Mount Rushmore of wrestlers?
Oh, jeez. Dude, that's a hard question too, because there's so many guys out there. So I think one of them would definitely have to be the Undertaker. I think the Undertaker is definitely one of the best to ever strap on a pair of boots. Undertaker, I'd say Bret Hart. Bret Hart definitely. And oh man, it's so hard to think about Mount Rushmore wrestling, because there's so many talents out there that you could put up there, because and I get it, everyone has a different opinion about this guy and this guy and this guy. And honestly, if I say Undertaker, Bret Michaels, or Bret Hart, I mean, I'm sorry about that, and Stone Cold Steve Austin for sure. Just because I think just because of what Stone Cold was able to do just in his time in WWE, like he was able to pretty much just take what he was given and he just ran with it, and everybody loved him for that.
So I'm sorry, Bane. My Wi-Fi cut out for just a second there, so I was kind of spinning. But so I heard The Undertaker and Stone Cold. What were your other two?
There's oh, that's right. There's four, huh? Bret Hart and man, that fourth one's gonna be tough. Yeah, I mean, there's just so many out there, and I gotta say probably Hulk Hogan for sure. Definitely, back in the 80s, in the early 90s, he was just one of the guys I think that definitely put wrestling on the map was Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, and you know what? We've actually discussed that multiple times on Between the Ropes. We've always said when you look at Hulk Hogan, what he's done for the company overall, that when you look at it now, I don't even know if technically WWE would have been the same without Hulk Hogan coming in and doing what he did for this company. Now,
Right.
I don't know if you kind of see it the same way, but I know he kind of put it on the map originally.
Yeah, I think so too. I think just whatever I think he kind of set the standard of like how just of what wrestling can and should be. It's a show, it's entertainment. I think he definitely brought that to the ring every time he stepped in there.
All right, Chris, I'm going to go back to you. Do you have another question for Bane?
All right. You've been talking about who your favorite WWE stars. Who's your least favorite?
My my least favorite.
Yeah.
Oh man. Dang, who? I can't really say I have a least favorite, but what I can say from when I was a kid, who I hated to watch win, but looking back now and looking what they've done now, I appreciate it. Who I hated to watch win was Edge and Christian. I hated to watch them win because they were always beating Matt and Jeff, and Matt and Jeff were like the ones that I loved to watch, but they were always beating them, so I hated to see them win all the time, especially at SummerSlam and WrestleMania. But I mean, I can't really say I really have a least like wrestler. I just maybe those are the guys I didn't like to see win when I was a kid was Edge and Christian.
So, how did you come up with your wrestling gimmick?
A wrestling gimmick. So what I was always told was my wrestling gimmick is it's always me pretty much turned up to 10. And that's pretty much what it is. It is exactly who I am as a person. Turned up to 10. I'm very intense. I really don't really care what a lot of people think about me. I'm gonna go out there. I'm gonna do me. If you don't like it, then that's okay because there's only one person I need to impress, and that's me. And the fans they can take it or leave it, or they can embrace it. And so far, they have embraced everything I've done in the ring. So I mean, it's just I just want to keep that intensity up. Hopefully keep impressing everyone that come into contact with, and just hopefully move on from there or move up from there.
All right, so we have a comment in the comment section for you here that Brandon Herrera saying, "Can you walk us through your first match? Things that ran through your mind while waiting in the back to hearing your music hit, and then the actual match itself, and then after."
Oh man, my first match, my first match as I was incredibly nervous to go out there, especially as being me. I don't know how the fans are going to react to me. I don't know what they're going to like, what they're going to dislike, but it actually went, in my opinion, pretty good for as good as the first match can go. I faced the guy that I actually have been training with since I started. So basically, he just he made it easy for me. We had fun with it. But he was we had a good match together, and but after the match got done, I was like, whew, okay, got that one out the way, and just told myself like, yeah, you definitely continue to do this. And just during the match, I was like, just make sure I execute, make sure I um, hit these moves right, and just go on from there, and just But like I said, it was the guy that I worked with was a guy that I'd been training for the last 2 years, so it was basically it was fun. We had a fun time to be out there together.
So who did you train with? Who actually trained you?
So my trainer slash teacher, his name is Lamont Williams. He goes by the ring name of Lou Gotti. He's originally from what I remember, he's based out of Cleveland. He's from there, and yeah, he is incredibly knowledgeable. I cannot imagine having a better teacher than him because he just knows so much, and the way that he explains things about wrestling and technique and psychology and everything else, he's able to explain it in a way that you understand it. Which for me, growing up, school wasn't always my strong suit. It was always hard for me to understand, but he just has ability to teach a way that just makes you understand why we do this, why we do that. That's why this happens when you do this, and it's just he has been amazing as a coach to me over the last 2 years, and he has helped me so much along the way too that anything I come to him or anything I have questions about wrestling or anything, I go straight to him because I already know I'm gonna get a very good answer and I'm gonna get a very honest answer.
All right, so mess around, Dave. I'm going to go to you. What other question you have for Bane?
If you had a chance to sign with AEW or WWE, which one would you sign with and why?
Oh my gosh. AEW or WWE. Man, can I get a pass on that? I mean, that's like I don't.
We can come back to that.
I mean, I see this thing. I don't know. I feel like I would probably sign with WWE just because they just have a longer like rap sheet. I mean, I get it. AEW just started. They have amazing talent over there, and they're definitely giving a lot of guys opportunities over there. But I think if I absolutely had the choice, I would definitely sign with WWE because I think it's on a larger scale around the world as far as AEW. I know they're working towards that way, and I know they're going to get that way. But I think since AEW or since WWE already has that rep, I think I would definitely have to choose WWE.
All right, so we have a few comments in the comments section here. Gabriel Andrus is saying Cyndi Lauper had a big part to help wrestling as well. Rocking wrestling with Hogan.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not too familiar with that. I'm not sure what that.
I can honestly say I'm not too familiar with that either. That might be something that diehard Hogan fans probably know about.
Okay. And then Amy saying that she's watching from work. And then you have Brandon Herrera. This is a first. I've never had this question on here. So this would kind of be cool if Bane could actually do this. But it says, how is your mic skills? Could you cut a promo right now on Mess Around?
My mic skills I'm working on them. Do I think I could cut a promo right this moment? I don't know because I would have to need pretty much I need something to work off of, like a subject, and I'm still working on the whole mic skills because growing up I've always been a quiet person. But doing baseball and football and everything else, I always tried to be as intense as as I could be. But as far as like being like an extrovert, it's still incredibly hard for me to do that. Like, especially now going out on the ring and trying to, work the fans and everything else. It's just, it's still very hard for me, but I, I don't think I can really cut a promo at this second.
Okay. So the next question we have for you is, what are your thoughts on, so we've seen multiple generations of women's wrestling. We've gone from the straight up women's wrestling, and then we've gone into divas and the divas revolution and everything else. So Joanne is wondering, what is your thoughts on women's wrestling?
I believe that we are in the midst, I think, of the greatest wrestling talent of women that we have at this moment. Because if you look at who we have, not just in WWE, but who we have in the indie scenes, there is some amazing talent out there. And I love the fact that they are more showcasing what they could do in the ring as far as talent wise than we were back in like the early 2000s, when they were just kind of just having their 2-3 minute matches and whatnot. But like now, women are main eventing WrestleMania, they're main eventing pay-per-views, and I think that is just fantastic. And the only way that they can go is up from this point. And I think that the women's revolution and talent is just going to continue to keep getting better and better.
All right. So Brandon's saying that the Rockin' Wrestling was a cartoon that was back in the late 80s, early 90s. So there's that. So that sums up where the Rocking Wrestling was actually coming from. So speaking of women's wrestling, do you have a favorite diva right now that you would say you love to watch them?
I do. I love to watch Ripley, Charlotte, Asuka, Becky Lynch. I love what Bailey's been doing over the last year and a half or so. So they, like, those four right there are I love to watch them on how they work, how their mic skills are. I think what they're doing right now, I think is some of the best stuff that they've had in their career.
I was kind of disappointed there for a second that you did not say my favorite and Mess Around's favorite currently right now in WWE is Alexa Bliss. I just think that what she's been able to do has been phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. She's been able to basically take any character that they have given her and just mold it into something that's so spectacular that she's so awesome to watch on every night. And a lot of people, and I like Charlotte Flair. I think she's very, very talented. But I know a lot of people complain so much about Charlotte because they're like, she's always in the title picture.
Yeah, always. But I mean, she's good at what she does, and I think, and that's why I think she just has a lot of heat on her, is because she's always involved no matter what she does, and I think that's great. Keep that heat on her.
All right, so Brandon Herrera also wants to know, what states have you wrestled in?
So far, I've only just wrestled in Texas. I have not wrestled anywhere else but Texas. Would I like to go to other places? Yeah, I think I just need to do a little more of my research on seeing what's outside of Texas and try to go on from there.
All right, Chris, what question do you have?
You're just talking about you wanted to go to other states. What states would you like to wrestle in?
So I'm actually from California, so I think I would like to go wrestle in California. California, Florida, maybe in the East Coast, maybe New York or Massachusetts, just somewhere, somewhere East Coast, somewhere West Coast, and down there in Florida for sure, because that's where where AEW and WWE are based out of, in Orlando for sure, in Jacksonville.
Okay, so it sounds like you kind of want to go a little bit of everywhere, which I think is kind of really, really cool. So in your career so far, what actual WWE superstars have you got to meet? And what were the interactions like?
So I don't think I've met any. Wait, I have. So I've met Austin Theory.
Oh, okay.
He's in NXT. Super cool guy, very very nice. I've met Sammy Guevara. Said the same. I can say the same thing about him. Just everyone I've met, either in AEW or in WWE at the moment, has just been incredibly nice and incredibly courteous to me. Um, I actually just wrestled where I worked Ronnie Mack a few weeks ago, and he was super cool to work with, super cool to talk to, incredibly knowledgeable. Um, who else? And Shane Taylor too in Ring of Honor. Ring of Honor. He is I took a seminar with him, and I like him because he kind of keeps it real. Kind of just lets us know, like, he kept it real with us. And he was, just saying, hey man, here's just, how it is. And he's just one of those things like, hey, here's how I'll deal with it, and I'm actually taking a seminar here with EC3 in a few weeks. So that's going to be
Oh,
fun.
wow.
Yeah.
EC3.
Yeah.
Wow, he's been around because I believe, wasn't he in TNA for a while, and then he went over to WWE, and now is he back in TNA? I don't remember where he's at now.
I think he's working a lot in a Ring of Honor, and I think he's doing
Okay.
a little bit in Impact.
That's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah.
Mess around, Dave. What do you have for Bane?
What's your favorite match that you've competed in, and your worst match that you've competed in?
My favorite match? My favorite match, I think it'd have to be. How long ago was it? Maybe 2 months ago, 3 months ago. It was against a guy named Zarek Camacho. And I had a lot of fun with it because I think it was maybe my first match. I actually got to maybe showcase a little bit more of what I can do in that match. And as far as worst matches goes, I don't think I could really say I have had a worse match. I mean, if the match was bad, I don't think it was anything that the other guy that I was facing had done. I think it was more of just maybe I missed some stuff there, or my head wasn't in the game there. It's just but I can't say I really have like a worst match in my career, at the moment.
All right. One of my favorite questions to always ask, because when I watch WWE or AEW or TNA, I am a heel guy. So I'm like big into heels. So you personally, do you like to wrestle as a face, or do you like to wrestle as a heel?
I like to wrestle as a face. But right now it's hard for me to kind of work heel because everyone just loves to see the big man just cause ruckus. So it makes it hard when I'm working heel, and I'm beating the heck out of this guy, but the fans are loving it. So it's just like it's like, okay, this guy's, I'm completely just, massacring it, but you guys loving it. But okay, I guess I'll keep working with it. But no, I think I just like to work face because I think everyone just loves what I'm doing as it is, and it's just, I think right now it's hard for me to go over as a heel because everyone just loves what I'm doing as far as like just my move set and just the fact that I'm just just beating everybody down.
All right. So we have another question here for you. They're asking, and this is coming from Amy. She's asking, do you have a favorite Hall of Famer?
Hall of Famer. At the moment, right now, I think I'd have to choose the Undertaker for sure, hands down. I think that he is one of the best. Just not just him, but just as a character, the Undertaker is probably one of the best characters I think to ever step in a wrestling ring across all brands. Whether you look across the country at New Japan, WWE, Ring of Honor, Impact, AEW. I think he's just one of the best. I believe he's one of the best.
So, a question that I'd like to ask you, it pertains to the Undertaker streak, because
Okay.
that's always been a huge topic.
Yeah.
Do you think it was the right time for them to be like, it was time to end his streak? And was Brock Lesnar, do you feel like Brock Lesnar was the right guy for that?
Do I think it was the right time to end the streak? Yes. Do I believe that it should have been Brock? Um, I think it. Yeah, yeah, I do, because the way that Brock works, I believe that I think he could have been the only one to take down the Undertaker to take down his streak. So yeah, I do believe it should have been Brock.
Now, well, there was. Go
Well,
ahead.
it's like it's just because I don't think was it a surprise for Brock to beat the Undertaker? I don't think so. Was it a surprise for him to beat the Undertaker to end his streak? Yeah, probably. But as far as him being an Undertaker, no, I don't think it was any surprise really to much people that he could beat him.
So there's a lot of people out there saying that they felt like it would have been right if Kane would have beaten the Undertaker streak, just because of what they had done for so many years.
I think that would have been too obvious if you ask me. Like, I mean, obviously you're gonna choose Kane to beat the Undertaker, but like, I think that would have been. I think that would have been too obvious. I think that would have been too much. I don't think Kane would have been the guy to beat the streak.
All right, and Brandon Herrera saying that he believes Undertaker wanted Brock to end the streak.
Yeah, I think one of his documentaries, I think he chose Brock to beat the streak. I think he wanted him to do it.
All right, Chris, I'm going to go back to you.
Can't really think of a question right now. I'm sorry.
You're good. Mess around, Dave.
Do you have any upcoming events or shows that you'd like our fans to know about to look out for?
Yes, there is a show on the 26th of June. It's 25th or 26th, but it's here in Texas. The promotion is VIP Wrestling. Keep a lookout for it. It is in Haltom City, Texas. We have EC3. We have Shane Taylor. We have our VIP champion, JTG. And we have, I forget who else we have. I think we have Super Beast, who is incredible in the ring. Who else do we got? But I think we got Will Allday. I think we got Chandler Hopkins in that mix too. But just I know we have a lot of guys who have actually been in the dark matches for AEW. So there is a lot of talent on that card. That card is stacked. So if you get a chance for everyone to check it out, look up VIP Wrestling on Instagram or Facebook, and I believe it is one of the best promotions in Texas.
All right, yeah, definitely. We will definitely go in and check that out. So Joanne is asking, what would you like to do after your wrestling career wraps up? Do you have anything in mind that you're...
I mean, I would like to get to the point where, I can teach it. I would love to teach wrestling to pretty much just pay it forward. Because I know that's pretty much what all the coaches that I have right now and people that are coming to me leaving advice. I think that right now they're just paying it forward, and I think I want to be able to do that. Like, I would love to teach. Maybe start a school here in the next, I don't know, 15, 20 years. I think that would, that's the goal. Is just pay it forward once my career is done.
So if you had to give any advice to, let's say, a teenage kid, maybe 12, 13, that comes and talks to you and says, hey, man, I want to get in the wrestling business because this is something that I've wanted to do and I've always wanted to do. What advice would you give to him?
Do it. Do it and start early and give it everything that you have, because I guarantee you the payoff is going to be great. Just go to training, work your butt off, start early, start at 18, 19, 20 years old, because, I guarantee that if you work as hard as you can, once you hit, 23, 24, 25 years old, like, you're definitely going to be the top talent in whatever city or state that you're in. Like, just start early and just work your ass off.
So what age did you actually start training at?
I started training at what was it? I think 26 going on 27. Like I started training at 26, but the next month I turned 27. And right now I'm 29.
So from videos that I've watched on YouTube, you know, about wrestling school for WWE, it shows like it's like really intense. It shows that there's like no holding back. Like coaches actually scream at you and say, "You got to get this right or you leave." Like, is that kind of what it's like, or is it more mellow and they're like relaxed? And
I mean, it's definitely intense. If people are yelling at you saying you gotta do this or do that, it's not because that we want you to leave or we want you to quit. It's because we want you to succeed. Like not in wrestling, I'm starting to realize it's not, oh, I'm against that person or I'm against that person. It's like, no, we want you to succeed. Like everyone in this room or everyone in this class and graduates and veterans, like we want you to succeed and we want to do everything we can to help you. So basically, if we're yelling at you saying do this or do that, we're not doing that. We're not doing it to make you feel bad. We're doing it because we want you to succeed. Like we want you to make it.
okay, that makes a lot of sense. Mess around. How about you?
I had a question, but it just slipped my mind. Come back to me in a second.
All right. So, is there any like gimmicks out there that they've wanted you to do that you're like, no, man, I really don't want to do that. I'm not comfortable with it, or just that's just not my style.
No. I mean, I can honestly say at this point they haven't really given me anything that I really haven't agreed with. Usually, everything people have given me or have tried to pitch to me, I'm like, yeah, I could definitely do that, for sure. But as far as giving me something I don't agree with, nothing comes up to mind. Nothing's told to me.
So, what would you say? And the thing that always pops into my mind about this is when they talk about the worst gimmick of all time that you ever saw in any promotion. One of the first ones that comes up to me, I immediately think of the Shockmaster. That one, I'm like, that was just horrible. But is there like one of those gimmicks that really sticks out to you?
I can't remember what the guy's name was, but it was the dude that came out as the mummy, like just wrapped up in
the Yeti. The Yeti.
Yeah, the Yeti and the gobbledygooker.
There's also the Minotaur.
Oh yeah, the Minotaur. That's right. Yeah, there's just some that's like, I don't know what they were thinking.
They were like, "How's this guy even gonna get his head in the ring?" And he couldn't get in the ring. It was so funny.
Yeah. It's like I look at some of those. I'm like, damn, what were they thinking?
So Joanne is asking, what personal sacrifices do you have to make as a professional athlete?
Spending time away from my wife and kid. It's I feel bad that when I got because wrestling is definitely taxing on the family life and taxing on your body, but I would rather risk time on my body than I would with my family. Like they keep me in check. They are the reason that I'm doing what I'm doing now, and it sucks when I gotta go out of town for 1 or 2 days, and I'm going to spend time with them on the weekend. It's just it sucks. It bums me out because I do want to spend as much time with them. So I mean, that's just one of the biggest sacrifices I gotta make right now. I've been doing better as far as kind of delegating where my time is put throughout the week and throughout the weekends, because I mean, if there's the chance that I know I could spend time with my man, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do it. But if there's also a promotion out there that wants to use me and work me to the best of their ability, I'm going to go out and do that too. It's just a matter of planning all these in advance so I can delegate my time to the proper places, But yeah, family life has definitely taken a toll while becoming a professional athlete.
All right, so Brandon Herrera was going back to the worst gimmick thing for a second, and he said, "Don't forget about the Ninja Turtles."
Oh man, that's That's a long time ago. I completely forgot about them. See, you see, that's just the thing about bad gimmicks. You don't really remember them.
Yeah, or sometimes you think that they're like bad gimmicks, and then they stick out to you, and you're like, well, was that really a bad gimmick then? Because
Yeah.
it's like ingrained in your head. Because one of the gimmicks that I first think of is like the Spirit Squad. That I'm like,
Yeah.
was that really?
Say that.
Yeah.
Hey man, they had a decent run though.
They did.
Yeah, they had a decent run.
Because if you look at Dolph Ziggler, he was in the Spirit Squad.
I know.
So
I
would
know.
so would Dolph Ziggler be Dolph Ziggler if he wasn't in the Spirit Squad? Would he have gotten his break?
You see, that's the thing. Is like, I think that's why people take the gimmicks as they're given to them, because you never know what's going to come of them. Just go ahead and just and I think Chris Jericho said it in one of Stone Cold one of his sessions on WWE Network, is like, if he was gonna do something, he was gonna do it his way. So it's just like, you never know. Just if you're gonna have like a Spirit Spot type gimmick, use it, but use it your way.
Right.
But just because again, you never know what's gonna come of it. And I think Dolph knew that. And I think for a minute there, Dolph was what he was the golf cart driver for Chavo when he had his little golf gimmick.
Oh, was he? I actually didn't know that.
I think he was. I think for that short-lived gimmick, I think he was. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm almost positive he was.
Yeah, and so this is kind of a common question that we often get to. Why do you think it is? So you can look at somebody, let's say maybe like Kane or Undertaker, or you can even throw out I'm trying to think of somebody like Drew McIntyre, okay? Or okay, actually a good one would be Bray Wyatt. When Bray Wyatt was Husky Harris, it didn't work out. Okay,
Right.
That gimmick didn't work out. But then all of a sudden he came back as Bray Wyatt, and all of a sudden his character took off. So why do you think it is that somebody tries a character and it doesn't work, but they try a different character and it works, when in reality it's the same person?
Because I think sometimes it's just like, I don't believe this guy. Like I think it's the believability of it. Like, I don't believe this guy who he says he is. I think just when they try new gimmicks out, like the Undertaker and Kane and Bray Wyatt, it's like at that point they believe them. They believe they actually are that person that they show up on TV, and I think that's what made them so great, is that they were believable. I don't believe that Kane was, what was he Isaac Yankem when he was
Yeah.
this.
Oh yeah.
Like, it wasn't believable. It wasn't believable. And the thing with the Undertaker and Kane, when they came out and they did the promos and they did what they did in the ring, like you believed them. Like, you believe that they were those guys. Like, you believe that they were brothers of destruction. And same thing with Bray Wyatt. Even as the Fiend, like, you believe he's actually that person who he says he is. And I think that's why it works out so well. It's because you believe him.
Yeah, I was just curious about that, because it was somebody like Drew McIntyre too. Because Drew McIntyre was there before, and he got released, and then he came back and became a big star. But they never changed his gimmick. It was kind of still the same.
Well, he was the chosen one when he first came out.
I think it's like you need to fall on your ass to be able to recoup and realize what worked, what didn't work, what you could change. And it's just a matter of just practicing on that. And I think what Drew needed was, he needed to fall on his ass and then realize that, like, crap, well, obviously what I did in, was at 13, 14, it didn't work. Okay, I'm definitely going to work on making it work, and changing things up. Like, when he first came in, he wasn't as intense as he was now. Like, he just took what he had back in 12, 11, and he just turned it up to 10. Like, he's actually the Scottish Warrior now. Way back when, he wasn't that. He built muscle. He got better in the ring. He got better at promos. He got better as character, and now he's having probably the best run. He's having the best run of his career at the moment. Winning 2 championships in a matter of a year. So I just think it just takes a lot of self-reflection to realize what you need to do to better yourself.
So what's your thoughts on the Roman Reigns gimmick?
So I think it works. It definitely works. It's just I think maybe he's a little bit too strong. There's making out to be a little too strong, but I get why they're doing it. Like they're trying to make like people already booed him as it is when he first got in. Now they're just like rolling with it as him as a heel. So I like his gimmick. It definitely works. Do I get annoyed with it sometimes? Yes, but I do believe that it works. Especially
I'm right
with
there
him.
with you.
Mhm.
I don't know. I just was
Agreed.
always I've been there with Roman Reigns forever to where every time he comes out, wrestles a pay-per-view, I'm always like, oh, I wonder who's gonna win. I wonder who's gonna retain the title. And you always know what's coming.
And when I first saw Roman, it was probably back in 2000. It was when he won the Royal Rumble. It was kind of because I fell off of wrestling for a minute and I got back into it when he won, and I was like, why are we hating him? Like, why do we hate him? And then I started watching as the years went on. I was like, okay, this is lie. I'm like, okay, this is lie.
Nice.
Yeah, it's but there's everyone's out there saying that right now Roman Reigns is the face of the company.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
I think right now, yeah, I think he is, because I think when you think of WWE, like when you think of WWE in the current roster, who's the first person you think of?
you either think of Roman Reigns or Drew McIntyre. Yeah.
Roman Reigns or Drew McIntyre. So yeah, I think, and I have to admit, I was actually pretty bummed when Roman beat Drew at Survivor Series last year. I was actually incredibly bummed out about that. I really thought like Drew was gonna win, and I saw Roman. I was like, oh man, come on. But then again, he got that assist from his cousin with that super kick. So
yeah.
What do you
Brandon,
think of the WWE releasing Braun Strowman? Was the right move, or
that's still a move I don't understand. I can't. I don't. I really don't understand that. Like I'm like I don't know. Like I don't know how. Like, was it the right move? I don't know. I don't know what they're trying to do, but it's like it's a questionable move. It's like what's the backstory behind it? I have no idea.
right?
You think they'll release or not release, but re-sign one of them?
If they re-sign anybody, I really hope they re-sign Samoa Joe, because I think Samoa Joe is probably the best in the business when it comes to mic skills. And it sucked because I know he was injury prone, but he never really had he never had a decent run in WWE. He did in NXT, but when he got to the main roster, he just kept getting injury after injury after injury. I don't think he had a legitimate run in there. And I think with his mic skills and his talent, I think he could have been a tremendous either WWE champion or Universal champion.
Well, there's that comment in the section that I knew that comment was coming. It never escapes me because everybody knows, all of our viewers know how I feel about Goldberg, and they had to put the Goldberg in there. And I personally, man, don't do that to me, man. Don't make me go off on a rant on Goldberg. I can't do it. But I can't do it. But I'm gonna give you. So my final question is, I'm gonna give you 3 wrestlers, and I want to see if you put them in like terms of technical skills, or who do you think is the better, like 1, 2, and 3 in the ring. Let's see where you go with it. So I'm gonna say AJ Styles, Seth Rollins, and then The Miz.
As far as technical skills?
Yeah, just as far as technical skills and like in-ring skills. How would you rank them between 1, 2, and 3?
I think number 1, AJ, number 2, Seth, and 3, Miz. That's exactly where I go. Yeah. I just think that everything that AJ has accomplished over the years and the way that he wrestles, I just think I think AJ is probably the best of the 3 for sure. And then what Seth he's doing now and continuously doing, and what he's done to bring himself up for sure. I like The Miz. I have nothing against The Miz, I think that from his upbringing, no one thought he was going to be where he was today, but he just worked on it. And I think the Miz he's more like he's definitely talented, but you like him because his character. I like the Miz because his character. Sure, I definitely think he's very entertaining. He's very fun to watch.
Yeah, and I noticed of the last comment he made, he seemed like a very humble guy because after he held the championship for basically it was one night,
Yeah.
and people were like angry about it, going really. And the Miz came out and said, "I don't need a title to be on top." He said, "That's not. I could be relevant without a title."
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of bummed out when he kind of lost the title after like a week or two, and I was like, well, what the heck was the point of that? I mean, I get it, he needed to use that money in the bank, but I think he should have had like at least one title defense.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he kind of got it. He dropped it immediately.
Yeah.
So Brandon Herrera was saying that Samoa Joe was at the Performance Center yesterday.
Oh, I did see something about that. Like he's possibly gonna resign. I saw that on Facebook, but I did not go too in depth of what the story was. But I really hope that he resigns because I think he deserves a decent title run.
Yeah.
For sure.
They were also mentioning Aleister Black as a possibility of re-signing him too.
I love Aleister Black. I love his dark aurora that he brings to the ring. Like I think he's incredibly fun to watch too. I think they shouldn't have released Aleister Black. I think they should have given him the option whether to go back to NXT, which I think he should have done.
I just wonder if they release him to restructure their contract, maybe.
I think that's probably what they did because I think they do that in like baseball and football a lot. They release and restructure their contract a little bit. So that could have been it. I don't know, but maybe that could have been the reason why.
All right, so we have a comment here that's saying Miz is annoying. A few people feel like the Miz is annoying, so I'm sorry. I'm sorry if you feel like that, but the Miz is a good in-ring talent. He's very, very talented. I love his mic skills.
I think if you find the Miz annoying, he is definitely doing his job right.
There you go.
Right.
Or any superstar.
All right, so before we go ahead and wrap up the show, I'm gonna give each of you another question to ask Bane, whatever you would like to ask. So mess around. I'll go ahead and start with you.
Yeah, I remember what I was gonna ask earlier. What's the worst bump you've ever taken in the ring?
In ring, I do not like a choke slam bump. Do not like taking choke slams. Sometimes it hurts depending on how that ring feels. Either it's soft or hard. There is no between.
Yeah, which I've always thought about too. Like if you're actually going that high in the air and you're getting slammed, or somebody's throwing you off of a top rope. I mean, obviously you learn how to land, but it still cannot
hurts.
Feel good. I mean, I was gonna say it still has to hurt.
Yeah, granted, I don't have I've never had a concussion in the ring or taken one in the ring, but it still hurts. You definitely feel it the next morning.
Right.
So, and that's why I give a lot of you guys a lot of credit, because you see somebody that'll go out, somebody like a Seth Rollins or Kevin Owens or somebody that will go out and a pay-per-view on Sunday, absolutely just tear it up at the pay-per-view, wrestle 20, 25 minutes, then come back on Raw the very next night and do it all over again. And I'm like, that is crazy, because you know that they're feeling it in the ring. Like that can't feel good the next day.
And that's the thing too, is like they're probably not getting a whole lot of rest time either, because they're getting done with the show, they're getting in their cars and they're going to the next day of the show. And so they're probably driving, 2 or 3, 4 hours down the road, and then finally getting in the hotel room at maybe 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, and then getting up at God knows when to finally go to work. So who knows? So yeah, I give them a lot of respect for doing that.
Right.
All right, Chris, do you have a final question for Bane?
Yeah. What's your go-to finishing move?
Well, it's funny that you mentioned it, because I say I don't like taking choke slams bumps, but I give the choke slams. for my finisher.
There you go.
It's either that or a clothesline from hell.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you got that one from JBL.
Oh yeah. Well, that and
Which-
just that during training, I used to get a lot of like, man, your clotheslines are, they're tough, man. They're tough. And I'm like, you know what? I think I'm gonna start using that and just start doing it from a clothesline from hell standpoint, from the bottom.
All right, and then of course we have one last viewer question here. Imi says, "What do you think about Ricochet?"
I think Ricochet is incredibly talented, and I would love to be able to do what he does in the ring, because he does all those flips and acrobatic moves, and he is fun to watch, especially when he works with guys that can do the same thing, like a Rey Mysterio or something like that, man. Like, just the way that he moves, it's almost effortless the way that he moves in the ring. It's just second nature.
Absolutely. It's incredible what some of these guys do out there. I know. Personally would be scared to try it. Somebody like, and I think you said the right name, in Rey Mysterio. I mean, Mysterio. That's
Ray. Ray. I know Cedric Alexander does some of that stuff that he does. I know most of the guys in 205 can do like all those, big. The flips, the high flying. It's just, man, just some of those guys just make that stuff look effortless, man. It's insane.
Like Montez Ford, that guy can jump out of the gym.
Oh man, I know he can. Like, he gets like 15, 20 feet in the air every time he saw a frog splash.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah.
Which is interesting that you mentioned the 205 live, because you never hear about the 205. You hear about NXT, you hear about Raw, you hear about SmackDown, but nobody ever talks about 205.
Yeah, I mean, everyone has their preference. If they want, if you want to watch extra wrestling, go watch 205. I mean, those guys are talented too. I think those guys they work a little more technical than they do probably in any other brand. Just because they work with their size. They do what they can as far as the technical and the high flying side of things.
All right, and so to go ahead and wrap up the show here, Bane, is there anything that you would like to basically throw out there right now, as much as like merch? Do you want to let anybody know about any of your merchandise you have out there? Where can they buy it and stuff like that?
I unfortunately don't have any merch yet, but just if everyone can just follow me on Instagram, DFW Bane, and follow me on Facebook, Bane Bailey, and just keep. Once I get merch, I will definitely update those platforms for sure. But I'm still working on it.
Yes, and if you could please let us know here at Coast to Coast when the merch becomes available.
Yeah.
I know I would love to get some merch. Once the merch becomes available, I would love to get it. If you could just let us know, and we will be happy to come on here and help you promote it and tell everyone to go and check it out. I know we have Garrison Creed's been on here a few times. We got him. I got a bunch of his merch. His stuff is on Boot and Heel. That's why I wasn't sure. Do you know when it might be available?
I don't.
Okay.
I'm still working. I'm still trying to work on finding like a good shirt guy and a good graphic guy.
Okay, yeah, I wasn't sure how that worked. I didn't know if you had to find it yourself or if they kind of helped you try and find somebody per se.
No, I take care of that. Yeah, I got.
Okay, you take care of that. Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, yet again, we would like to thank you for being on the show. So thank you very much. It was a pleasure to have you on. It was definitely a privilege. Thank you very much. And we look forward to seeing some matches for you in the future. We're going to try and check out some matches of you on YouTube. Hopefully we can find some on there, because I love to go on there and watch the indie scenes, especially on YouTube. Maybe one day they'll even let you guys go live. I can't wait for that.
Yeah, just if you guys want to, just subscribe to DFW All Pro on YouTube. And that's basically where I'm, based out of. So, and I think we're working on putting matches on there in the future. So yeah, just go there on YouTube and subscribe. DFW All Pro.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Bane. It was a pleasure to meet you. And you take care, you stay safe, and good luck in your future matches.
Yeah, thank you
Thanks,
guys for
man.
having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
See you guys.
Thank you. Yeah, we'll see you guys later.
Later.